song.
Right. I've been thinking
I
about
said we really need a theme song to, start this out.
it. Yeah, we
Can it
do.
have synth in it?
Uh,
Oh, that's I've been wondering like over the last year, like, man, who could make us a theme song? And you're right, Cody. It needs to have synth in it. That's totally the direction I was going in.
Well,
I'll
does
see
Uh,
what
it?
I can come. I'll see what I can come up with. I can write. Oh my God!
well, we are live. Welcome everybody to our weekly brunch show. You caught us in mid conversation about a theme song. So if you have any synth ideas, I know Nick, I saw that
We
light
are
bulb
live.
go off above your head. So y'all bring it because we could definitely use a theme song. I think that would be pretty cool. But
All
anyway,
right.
we are
I'll
here
see what I can
with
come up with.
Cody, Cody House, and Nick Bell. How are you two doing today?
Doing pretty good. Doing good. It's like, well, actually, earlier on, I was showing how. I'm trying to get this in the frame right here. Yeah, I just
Ah,
found this nice, uh,
nice.
this find like a few weeks ago, and I was like, this isn't James Elroy's book. This is the actual screenplay that was used in the movie. So
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
yeah,
I'm a sucker for movie books and anything behind the scenes books, um, the making of screenplays, scripts,
yeah, yeah.
all of that stuff. I'm a sucker for. I found um, it was the movie book for Bram Stoker's Dracula,
Ooh,
which was I found that at half price. I found that, and let's see, there was a Monty Python book that I found. It was a Holy Grail book.
ooh,
And then I remember finding which is one of my personal favorites. It's a master. It was the making of Master and Commander, which is an excellent read if you can ever get around to it. It's
yeah,
hard.
yeah. And
I
actually, I
Uh,
remember.
have. Go
No,
ahead, Nick.
yeah, I was thinking. I remember a long time ago. I saw a book full of the Matrix that was full of behind the scenes stuff, but it also had the actual script to the movie, which
oh, that's
was
cool.
very good. Which I think is a very good segue into our topic of the day.
Yes, nice. So for Pride Month, we are talking the Wachowski siblings, um, Bound
Mm.
and um, brain fart, guys. I'm not gonna
Speed
lie. I
Racer.
woke up. I woke up right before it started getting ready for this, so I'm still in a fog a little bit. So,
So yeah,
uh,
their
Yeah.
directorial debut, Bound, and then their adaptation of arguably maybe still the most famous anime, Speed Racer.
Speed Racer,
Yeah, yeah.
excellent movie, and I wish I could have seen it in. It was 3D, right? It was
I
one
Uh,
of
don't
the
think
3D
I don't
films.
remember it having a 3D release, but I mean, it would have been insane in 3D.
It, yeah,
probably yeah. But honestly, I kind of was about 3D during that whole craze,
mhm,
and like paying what was it, $5 extra,
right.
just for the glasses. And
Like there's certain movies that I wanted to see in 3D, but not every movie had to be in 3D at that time. Like,
This came out a year before Avatar, so I'm not sure if the 3D craze had struck back quite yet in '08.
it
right.
was it actually has had a solid footing, I remember, was it Robert Rodriguez? He did Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and that was a 3D movie.
Right. That was his third shark. Was it the second or the third shark?
He's only done two
I
of
there was only
those.
one,
He's only
two of
done.
You
those.
talking about
You're
the
talking about
Spy
the Spy
Kids
Kids
movie?
movie.
Yeah, and the third
Oh
one was
yeah,
in 3D because Spy
man.
Kids 3 3D.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I remember I took my nephew, who is actually now in his 20s. It makes me feel old, but I took my nephew to see Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and I think I remember that being in 3D.
Yeah. And I know. Yeah, they did make a sequel of that, but I
hmm
don't think.
It's on
Um.
It,
Netflix. I forget the
and,
title.
and
It's
who introduced us to Taylor Lautner, who went on to
Who's
be
not
a
Shark
werewolf.
Boy in the sequel?
Yeah, I think he's. I don't know what he's been
I
doing after the Twilight movies ended.
Well, he did a couple of like action movies and then showed up in some Adam Sandler stuff, but I think he's just
Uh,
married and enjoying not acting.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean after.
he probably made enough to set himself up for a little while, you know.
Well,
So
I don't want to like poop on him because I don't know him as an individual, but
right,
clearly of the three leads of that series, he's the weakest actor because the other two leads have gone on to have very interesting careers and
Oh
chose
yeah, yeah.
some really weird and wild roles.
right, right.
And then yeah, not forget the Batman.
But do we want to talk about Speed Racer first since we kind of went on a whole 3D side
Actually,
tangent?
yeah, because that is. Um,
Yeah, I'm down.
Speed Racer is probably one of my cherished rewatches, and I tend my tendency is usually to avoid live action adaptations of anything animated because more often than not, it seems like the filmmakers are ashamed that they're making a silly cartoon, but the Wachowskis actually embraced it in Speed Racer. It
Mhm.
was, I mean, it felt like it felt more like a cartoon than the original anime did.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember, but this movie did not do well financially. It came out the
Mhm.
week after Iron Man came out, and critics tore this movie apart.
Well,
And
yeah, I was gonna say yeah, it did kind of fail at the box office, but that was because like you said, it was going up against Iron Man, and then The Dark Knight came out not too long after that.
Mhm.
Like that, um, 2008 was that juggernaut year for
It it it,
um,
rem- it reminds me of Star Trek Nemesis, which was mediocre, but
did it
I
come out the
feel
week
it.
before Two Towers? Is that
The
what
Two
happened?
Towers, that was a
Yeah.
death nail right there, and it always reminded me of that. Like I feel like it could have done a little better than it did, but everyone was just waiting for that, you know, the Two
So
Towers.
I don't know how you guys feel about the Wachowskis' overall work, but it sounds like you guys are not of the opinion that they only made one good movie because a lot of people tend to only like The Matrix and like poop on
no,
everything else they did.
No,
no,
they're
no.
talented.
I
They,
they have made some good stuff. Past the Matrix. Of course,
the-
Cloud Atlas is probably their other go hard or go home movie, and it dealt with a lot of some serious themes, and a lot of
Mhm.
the actors were doing some very heavy lifting.
you know
Oh,
what? I
totally.
haven't seen that, and I
Oh,
know.
well,
Well, I
y
take that back. I think I remember watching it, but it was like I had a long work day, and I remember getting into it. And I remember enjoying it, but I think I drifted off, and it's not because of the movie was boring. I was really enjoying it, but it was just I was tired, and I
Yeah,
remember waking up and I was like, oh man, that was I need to finish that, and then I never did. So
but I think you could say this about this movie too. It is go hard or go home. It is similar to movies like Fury Road and Into the Spider-Verse where it just fully embraces you into the world and it
yeah.
literally is a cartoon come to life.
right,
Like if race car driving in real life was like what it is in this movie, I would watch race car driving.
Okay, okay. Let me talk about the driving scenes. See, if Mario Kart and F-Zero made sweet, sweet love to a Hot Wheels track while Fast and the Furious movie was playing in the background, the the offspring of that dirty, dirty union would have been those racing scenes in Speed Racer.
But
I I for one prefer this over Fast and the Furious, but that's just me.
me too. Me
That's
too.
just
I
me.
would watch this 20 times over any Fast and the Furious movie.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like actually the later Fast and the Furious
I
movies, not
I
the
haven't
earlier ones.
seen I haven't seen past the second Fast and the Furious movie. So after the
Okay,
Oh,
first
well, there's a
after
few of them that are
the first one
fun.
was good, and then the second one after that, I was like, okay,
okay. Here's the thing.
I don't really. I
After
mean,
part 6, they stopped taking themselves seriously at
Hmm.
all. Like
right?
they just throw all logic out the window. The most of the Fast and Furious movies from part 7 on is basically the producers and screenwriters watching children play with Hot Wheels and just
Yeah,
writing a story around that.
But I think another thing that a lot of people kind of can't get onto the Wachowskis' wavelength is that they care more about character development and emotions than like plot. Like plot
Oh,
is just secondary to them.
oh yeah, yeah. They are it's I think they kind of take a lot from Steven Soderbergh's book because a lot of his stories are heavy character dramas. It's not so much about you know what's actually going on in the movies because a lot of the characters are actually interesting, which leads me to a lot of acting the acting choices. Like one of the reasons was like Speed Racer is one of my only two live action adaptations of animated, and both of them have John Goodman.
What is was the
right.
other
Oh,
anime he was in?
Flintstones.
Oh,
yeah.
John
live
Goodman
action
played Fred.
animation, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
thinking anime, sorry.
I'm not going to use that word guilty because there are no guilty pleasures when it comes to movies. But man, I love the Flintstones movie. I said it. I am one
Well,
of those that absolutely loves that movie.
here's the thing about the Flintstones. John Goodman and Rick Moranis pretty much carried that movie.
They make that.
Like they had probably the best on-screen chemistry of any duo since Gene Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor.
Right.
Well, I think he's perfect here as Pops. Like his look, his
Oh
Oh
yeah.
everything
man.
he's doing in
Yeah.
this movie is just pitch perfect.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, again, John Goodman is one of those actors who no matter how bad the movie is, he is fantastic in it.
Right.
And yeah,
But
John Goodman, Emily Hirsch, and of course, Christina Ricci.
oh, Christina Ricci's great in this movie. I love her in this movie. She's great. That was great casting.
Yeah.
Like
And
she's got the anime eyes, she's got the anime look, like her energy, everything. Her
oh
cool
yeah.
helicopter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is um and also the action. It is, you know, uh, again, it's just it's a movie that knows what it knows what it's making. They know that what kind of movie they were making. They weren't ashamed of it, and they went all out with it, and it looked like everybody was having having a good time making it, and and they projected that fun to the audience. I think that's what I got from it.
I agree. I love the energy of this movie. It's like it's a cartoon. Get your sugary cereal, hop up, and just get all your Crayolas out and make your Lisa Frank artwork, and let's go crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And also, yeah, if some mind altering substances probably might have been involved in the making of this movie.
But I think like getting back to like plot's not important. Like I read a review where it's like the Wachowskis are too good for this world and we don't deserve them because like the message of this movie is like, we got to take down the evil corporations because they don't care about the sport. They just care about profits and shares and
Oh yeah,
Watch it have been WWE and NASCAR like banded together and like review bomb this movie. I could see that.
oh, speaking of WWE, you heard about Stephanie McMahon actually taking over.
Oh, that I'm sorry. Don't get me started on. Like, I know we have fans. We have fans, and I'm not even going to go there. But don't get me started on wrestling.
Okay, all right. I mean, I follow it
That man is a douchebag
sporadically.
and a half.
Oh yeah. I think everyone in the wrestling fandom can at least the one thing they can agree on is that Vince McMahon is a real life heel.
Yeah, he's
I have
doing some really shitty
actually tried.
stuff. Excuse me.
Yeah, I actually tried watching the Scooby Doo WWE crossover where they had this wacky race, and oh my god, the performances from the actual wrestlers, specifically Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, was just, why are you here? Why
Yeah,
are you?
I think with any big family-owned business like that, where you're raking in millions of dollars, you're going to get into some. I'm not saying everybody would, but cover up some hush money, and I'm pretty sure all of the assaults that have gone on,
Oh,
and
I'm sure there's.
it's like a toxic culture, and
I would. Um. I would like to see what's in the Waltons closet. Let me just put it like that.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
But I think they have their feelings on their sleeves, and especially with this movie, and like like your
Oh yeah,
passions sometimes get killed by like the profession. Like
mhm.
yeah.
That's
What?
what
Oh,
you were saying is they took a movie based off of an anime or cartoon, and they brought their A game to it. They didn't phone it in, and
no,
that's what made it believable.
yeah.
If you look past all of the flashy CG and the stuff like that, those dudes bring their A game, and they make it just flat out believable.
Oh yeah.
And that's what they that's I just I don't know. I don't see how it bombed like it did. I mean, I can kind of see why, but again, everybody was top notch in this, and the way that they filmed it, it didn't feel like it felt like a cartoon, but it didn't. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. There's some
yeah,
definitely heartfelt moments, especially with the scenes with Emil Hirsch and John Goodman and Susan
hmm
Sarandon. It is.
Right. Yeah,
It
it
had
took
that
me
it had
to.
that great balance of like being a live action cartoon and being genuine heartfelt that um honestly I was kind of hoping it would have made cult classic status, but
it kind of
again.
has now. It has a cult following. I mean, this is still going to be a movie you either are into or you're not. It's not like I can recommend Speed Racer to just anybody off the street, but if you love anime or you love Saturday morning cartoons, I think you're going to like this movie.
Oh yeah,
Right.
definitely. And of course the cameos they had, like one of the very first cameos was the I can't remember his name, but he was the English original English dub actor for Speed Racer. He played one of the racing commentators.
Oh,
And then
really?
yes,
Cool.
That's cool. Yeah. And
and
Well,
Matthew Fox. Let's give a shout out to him because this is pre. This is what after
no, this
Lost
is
era.
during
Anything
Lost,
during
right
Lost?
before Lost ends. Yeah, this is a
Okay.
couple of years before Lost is over because I made a joke. I was like, Jack, you got off the island.
oh
I'm not saying
god.
he's the greatest
I'm,
actor.
I'm
He's kind of like he's done some good things. I've seen him in some things where I was like,
He's
man, he's really good.
fine. He's doing what the roles required.
Right.
Um, I
He
don't know if
always
you
seemed
guys
out of
know
breath.
this. This movie was in development for a long time. Like they tried to get this off the ground in the '90s with Johnny Depp and Henry Rollins.
oh
Oh
my
man.
wait,
Wow.
Henry Rollins was gonna play who? Was he gonna play Racer X
Yeah, he
or
was gonna play Racer X, and Johnny Depp
Wow.
was gonna be Speed Racer.
oh my god, I could kind of see I can't see, Johnny Depp playing Speed, you know, not even back then before all the crap with him happened, but I could definitely see Henry Rollins as Racer X. And that's another thing I wanted to address, the because in the show everybody was completely oblivious. Oh, who's Racer X? And the announcer is like, well, unbeknownst to the cast, Racer X is really Speed's brother. But then Speed in the movie, Speed actually he
Figures it
actually
out.
had a working brain.
Yeah.
He's like, wait a minute, this guy drives just like my brother. He is my brother, isn't he? And then they do that whole double subversion. Uh,
Well, interesting of the timeline of when this comes out and the casting. The actor who plays his brother in the beginning with the flashback sequences of when Race is a kid is the guy who played the quarterback that gets injured in Friday Night Lights TV
oh,
show. So he's kind of playing a similar role.
Nice.
athletes who get hurt very bad.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, talking about, the in between, like, because you have this stuff with the little brother and the monkey where like they
oh
like
yeah,
full on full, like it's a cartoon, like with them imitating like the kung fu fighting they're watching and stuff. And then
Mhm.
yeah, and when you bring actors like John Goodman and Susan Sarandon into a movie, it's going to have emotion and like heartfelt moments because these aren't actors who are gonna phone it in.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, heck, like John Goodman came back as Dan Connor for the Roseanne reboot, and then Roseanne basically had to shit the bed
Yep,
with
and they're
everything
like,
she
"Well, we'll keep the show going without you."
Which is
pretty
sad
much,
because
yeah,
we watch early Roseanne, and the whole. I know this is not. We're not talking about Roseanne. I'm sorry, I'm getting off of a Roseanne tangent, but
yeah,
we watched all of the early Roseanne because some of it hits home, you know.
yeah, yeah,
But totally different mind shift. Like she went from understandable working Joe, like probably seemed like a Democrat back then, into a like an I'm gonna say it, a nut job, and she and like in
well,
her old
yeah,
age,
she's
and it was kind of sad to see, because I
She
thought
became
always,
an edgelord instead of like
Hmm.
a social commentary comedian.
yeah, she went, yeah, that's good. She went from social
okay.
commentary
That I
comedian to
yeah,
edge lord. So,
She
but
had
anyway,
to have shock value on her side to get people to pay attention to her for a while, and that kind of made
And I think
yeah,
that kind of comedy doesn't work anymore. That was so popular in the '90s. That
mhm.
shock value comedy.
Yeah,
no,
it does. I'm not saying
it
everything
barely
in the
worked
original
even then.
Roseanne, but they did hit a lot of points in the older Roseanne when it came to working class
Well, I
people and
mean,
families and
Roseanne's horrible politics and how she is as a human aside. The original show was groundbreaking because it showed a blue collar family in
mhm.
reality of what most blue collar families were like it instead of what
Well,
most sitcom families were
there was
presented as.
there was dysfunction. They came close to losing their house several times. There were episodes where they could barely make ends meet and make the bills, and they touched on real, you know, lower to middle class uh, subjects. Um,
And Dan Connor was your dad if your dad was always busy working and not around. So
yeah. Dan Connor was like the everyday working dad almost,
And
Yeah,
trying to pick
it
drywall
wasn't
jobs.
trashy like Married with Children was, because like
Right.
Married with Children was a little trashy.
they
Like,
actually love each
okay.
other in
Yeah.
Roseanne.
Oh yeah, with another, hard hitting actors like who does great in everything he does. It's like Ed O'Neill.
oh
Like
yeah,
Yeah.
underrated actor. Guy brings it every time.
yeah.
But
Uh,
Oh
but
yeah, and
John Goodman.
Katie Seagal's a pretty heavy hitter too.
oh
Because
yeah,
actually,
she's like
all of
had
them
a
pretty were. Because Christina Applegate, like she was like one of the best parts of Anchorman, I think.
totally. Totally
Uh,
agree.
Mhm.
but yeah, going back to John Goodman. John Goodman is,
I love
he
that
brings
man.
his game. He brings his A game to everything he does, and it is to the movies. It is always to the movies' credit. Like he is, like his roles are the best part of any movie, I think.
Like I was watching The Man Who Wasn't There last night, and everything about that movie was amazing. But I kept waiting for John Goodman to pop. I was like, if John Goodman pops up, my head's gonna explode. Like, how could this get any better? How could this film get any better? And I can't. I mean, it was great with even without him. But I'm just saying, in the back of my mind, I was like, man, what role could John Goodman come in and play in this movie?
He
Because
probably
it's
would
just
have played either the.
the
Well, he could have.
brother-in-law,
We'll
maybe.
talk about it later
Yeah,
when we
yeah,
get to that
Yeah,
episode.
I, s-
But
I actually
wh-
started the Righteous Gemstones not too
oh,
long ago,
so
and that
hilarious.
is,
that is.
ooh,
Both seasons are just pure gold. I recommend that show to everyone. But anyway,
You know
yeah.
another performance I like? I don't know the actor's name, but he knows exactly what kind of role he's playing and he knows what kind of movie he's in. And it's the guy that runs the company that tries to buy Speed. He was also in V for
Roger
Vendetta.
Allam.
Yeah.
Roger
Like he
Allam.
knows exactly that he's this mustache twirling evil corporation guy.
Well, yeah, he played that. Basically played that same character in V for Vendetta.
Well, isn't he kind of playing like a Fox News type of guy in V for
Yeah,
Vendetta?
yeah. It's a bit of same difference in that, but yeah.
But yeah, like
Going
that
to another
whole
Wachowski movie, but that was they produced that one, but
they wrote the screenplay and produced it. I don't know why they didn't direct it because and looking at that director's other work and he started out as like their second unit director. It feels like maybe they sort of shadow directed that movie.
mm,
mhm.
maybe they just wanted to give one of their guys um uh say guys a shot at the chair, like
But I haven't seen
how
his
Spielberg had so many of his proteges, make their own movies back in the 80s.
yeah. Maybe so, but I haven't seen his other films, Ninja Assassin or The Raven, but if what I hear about them is true, it looks like maybe them having a heavy hand in V for Vendetta is why it was so good, or maybe just because it's the material.
Probably.
Right.
But yeah, I think this movie is a lot of fun. I think it's possibly the best live action anime adaptation we've gotten so far. Sorry, people who think I like to lead a battle angel, but I think this movie's better.
I ha- I haven't seen it. I kind of sort of want to see it, but
I haven't seen it either.
yeah,
It's decent, but I don't want to throw shade because I think Robert Rodriguez is probably a nice guy, but I think the Wachowskis are a little more skilled of filmmakers and storytellers.
Right.
I
I
think Robert Rodriguez. I would say his best movie probably was Sin City,
Yes,
but
the first
really,
one.
Sin
because
City was excellent.
yeah, but that was because he used Frank Miller's comics as basically a storyboard. So that's probably the only only one the best example of a one-to-one translation
Then
from
Frank Miller tried to use the spirit in his own
Oh,
storyboards and still couldn't get the
yeah.
comics.
Yeah,
oh,
I
God.
think with when Frank Miller actually got successful, it got to his head really
Yeah.
quickly,
He, he
and
he
then
tried to
he
use the same
started becoming.
formula, but it just
Then he
didn't translate.
Talk
then he
about
became
somebody else whose politics, which I don't know if they were similar, but like after 9/11, he went cuckoo.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's a YouTuber I follow. Of course, most everyone I know is Louis Lovog, aka Linkara, and he did this whole thing on Frank Miller's Holy Terror, and dang, he rips that comic a new one. He says, "This I hate this comic more than any I've ever reviewed because it is the antithesis of everything I believe in. Because Holy Terror is just really it kind of goes beyond, you know, 300s casually racist machismo, and
Mhm.
it goes straight up into xenophobic revenge porn.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I think he's like there. Some of his earlier stuff is. I mean, he did some okay stuff with RoboCop and I don't know some of his earlier stuff. But I'm with you.
Big
I think
Guy
he
and
got.
Rusty
I
the
think
Boy
he
Robot
got
was really
so
good.
big. Yeah, I think his ego. I think he became overinflated, and he just for his own good.
Of course,
You know.
now he's undergoing some like massive health problems too.
Mm,
Hmm.
And his
Speaking,
and also I think he probably got back on his medication because I think he reversed some of his more extremist views now.
mm.
speaking
So,
of comic book legends, not only have we lost George Perez and not Denny O'Neil, the Neil Adams this year, we
yeah.
just lost Tim Sale.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
oh,
yeah, we
yeah.
just
oh
The other day,
man.
yeah.
Nick, were did you do you remember the big Spider-Man drawing that George Perez did on the wall in the comic book shop?
I do not remember that.
It,
I
it
did
was
not know that was George Perez.
it was in well, he came through. Now the owners that had it before us,
Yeah.
uh, he had come through and did like a little mini con and or did like a signing
Oh, I
and
remember.
did
I
it in,
remember that. I remember that was the one where Bruce Campbell had that. We had that local
it was
premiere of Bubba Hotep, and Bruce
yes.
Campbell, Don Coscarelli was there, and the original author Joe Lansdale, he was there too.
Yes.
Like I,
Well, he did it in pencil, and when we moved, I thought of every way possible to like take that section of wall or like facelift it or something to preserve that. And now it's lost forever, and you know, but it was
uh,
just such a cool piece that he did in pencil of Spider-Man, and I hated to do it, and I always wanted to take some plexiglass and put like a build like a little frame around it, and just never got around to it. And
yeah.
you know, it's one of those things I'm kicking myself over. But
So
anyway,
before we shift gears into their first film, is there anything else we want to talk about Speed Racer? I heard Lindsay. Lindsay, do you have thoughts on Speed Racer?
I think it's gorgeous. I'm sorry. I also just woke
yeah,
up. I thought it was beautiful, and I
Yeah.
remember when it came out, but like you said, that was like my senior year of high school, and a lot of things came out that year. So I didn't get to see it in the theater, but I really wish I had. It was so gorgeous. I just loved
Yeah.
staring at
Yeah.
it.
It came
Beautiful.
out in 2008, and I mean, I know we've been talking about 1982 being a landmark year for movies, but 2008 was no slouch either.
Yeah, you
right.
got The Dark Knight, you got Iron Man, you got Wally, you got Hellboy 2.
Yeah.
That was all during our
You just named
man.
everything I actually did get to go see in the theaters.
I
Uh
fanboy. I geeked out over Wally. I remember when that came out, and I'm still. That's one of my favorite. That is probably is my favorite Pixar. Is I love that little robot. But anyway,
but
Well,
yeah,
yeah. It
I,
was. Yeah, a lot of heavy hitters came out that year, and really, it kind of got lost in the shuffle.
right.
yeah, I think so. And I think there were a lot of people that just weren't into it or weren't getting. I don't want to say people don't get it because maybe it's just not their cup of tea, but I don't think people were getting like it's supposed to be like this. This was their intention. This is what they were doing.
Oh, Hellboy 2 came out that year too.
Yeah, and I don't know why they released Hellboy 2 the weekend before The Dark Knight because originally it was supposed to come out in August and it should have stayed in that August release date because
Right.
they murdered that movie's chance of having a successful box office.
Well, Universal seems to have some really poor uh, decision making skills as far as their movies go. I mean, look to Dark Universe for proof of that.
Oh, that dark universe. Everybody
I
trying to. I
That's one
don't know what.
mummy I didn't see.
Yeah, I have yet to see the Tom Cruise Mummy movie.
I kind of refuse to watch it on principle.
I keep forgetting it's even
Yeah.
there. Like when you brought it up, I was like, oh yeah, there's Tom Cruise in a mummy movie.
Yep, and Russell Crowe shows up as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
God, that I mean,
But
everybody tries to keep launching these, cinematic shared universes and don't bother even coming up with interesting characters or a compelling story. I mean, like Scoob did the same thing. Like it tried to launch a Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe because Blue
mhm.
Falcon and Dynamite were basically the B story, and they end up it's like encountering Captain Caveman and Dick Dastardly was the villain. And the worst part about it is they didn't even bring in the original voice actors. They brought in celebrity voice actors. The only one they had was Frank Welker, and he played Scoob, and he didn't even play Fred. He played Scooby.
Mm. But
Not that
I
I have feelings about that movie.
but I think in the near future, after the Mad Max timeline has run its course in our society and we get to the Star Trek society, I think people are gonna find the Wachowskis movies and be like, "Why did people not like these movies?"
Yeah, actually, I kind of want to point this out. Both of the movies we were talking about were, I guess, what I call pre-transition movies, because this, um, right after Speed Racer came out, I want to say Lily Wachowski came out as trans, and then Lana came out
Was it after
not
Cloud
too long
Atlas?
afterwards. But yeah,
Yeah.
they both came out as trans. Um, Shortly a few months of each after that film's release, and I might have had them mixed up, but yeah, this the both of these movies were may I guess released pre-transition.
No, because it still says brothers at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I'd say
So was
let's
that?
refrain from using their older names.
I wonder if that was
Yeah.
studio. Like, no, we're not going to do that. You know.
No, it
Well,
wasn't. Well, I wasn't. I don't know how all of that works, especially in the movie business. And
yeah.
I am definitely not the type of person that you should add. I am not an authority
Right.
on the transgender. I am educating myself because I'm a teacher, and uh, at least two of my students identify as trans. So I
Right.
am educating myself to make myself a better ally.
Right.
I do know that when the new Matrix movie came out and they did like a 4K restoration of the original Matrix, there
Yeah.
were complaints that like why didn't they change it to Lily and Lana or Lana and Lily instead of were they Andy and Larry? Was that what they
Yeah, like I said again,
Mhm.
let's not use their old names here.
all right.
Um, I did not bother with the because I have the movie on DVD, but uh, again, I don't know. Was and also another thing to this the Wachowskis are notoriously private. It's not that they went all it's like they would seclude themselves. It's just that you didn't really hear from them until their next project came out. It's like
All right.
Right.
they pretty much kept to themselves. I mean, yeah,
And
after what was it, Jupiter Ascend after Jupiter Ascending, which it's that's another one of those love it or hate it kinds of movies.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the one I need to rewatch because I remember that was like the one I wasn't sure how I felt about because the rest of their movies I've pretty much been on board for.
yeah. Then they teamed up with JMS to do Sense 8.
Yeah, on Netflix, which was a really interesting, well done show. And I
Which one?
thought,
Very
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say very much so. But then again, JMS is one of those writers who, he goes hard or goes home with his,
mhm.
and of course, not all of his stories hit the mark. I mean, during let's um, that during his run on Amazing Spider-Man, I love a lot of what he did in Amazing Spider-Man, but the Green Goblin banging Gwen Stacy was probably not the best creative decision.
Oh no, I
No,
totally
that's
Yeah.
forgot.
that's almost as bad as the Killing Joke adaptation where they have Batman and Batgirl go at it on the rooftop.
God.
Yeah, isn't Batgirl? She's supposed to be a lot younger, right? Like that's the point. She's
Well,
Batgirl,
yeah, because
not
that's what
Batwoman,
messed me up.
a
Not that like
Batgirl.
their age difference is like
She's
gross, but like
she's
she's supposed
Bat.
to be like
Well,
a
basically, he's saying of all the things you should be doing, your best friend's daughter is not one of them.
right,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's supposed to be like a mentor figure to her and Robin. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just it's
And
like oh,
it seems
um,
like filmmakers are scared to death to even touch Robin. But that's a rant for another time.
all right. Well, let's get to their debut movie, Bound,
Yes,
which is a
Bound.
neo noir romance, I guess we could say.
Oh yeah, it is definitely a lesbian love story,
Well, you know
which
what's interesting
hidden
about
inside a heist movie.
yeah, what's interesting is this movie gets developed. I don't know if you guys know this, but the Wachowskis wrote the screenplay for the Sylvester Stallone Antonio Banderas film Assassins. But
Oh yeah, I
Hmm.
remember that.
their screenplay apparently was not what was filmed, and Richard Donner had the guy who did the screenplay for LA Confidential rewrite it.
Oh,
Which
And
one? Was it
Brian
Brian Hegland?
Brian Heglin, yes.
Hmm.
And they got their start in comics, oddly, but they decided, well, we're just gonna make our own movie. And this is the movie they made, and they had to
And
get it kind of independently financed by legendary schlock producer Dino De Laurentiis
oh yes, yes.
because the studio was like, oh, well, we'll make this movie, but you need to change the Corky character to a man. And they're like, we've seen that movie a million times.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was just telling Cody, I rewatched that movie for the first time in years last night. It happened to be on Amazon, and I and watching it now as an adult instead of a college adult,
Right.
it hits kind of differently because the first time I heard about, excuse me, first time I've heard about Bound, it was nominated as Best Kiss for the MTV Movie Awards. I can't remember if it won or not. I think it did because it was such a big deal at the time, but with a girl kiss. And this movie was made back in 1996.
Yeah. I don't think it was the Wachowskis' attention, and I think for whatever time in the 90s, I think I vaguely remember this being marketed as, oh, it's the two ladies movie, you know?
Well,
Yeah,
that's what I was telling Nick earlier. Is this? I'm not saying it is, but I could also see where this is one of those movies that they put on Cinemax after 10 o'clock at
Oh,
night.
I am pretty sure like HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, whatever movie channel had the rights to this in the late 90s, early 2000s. I am sure they programmed this like to that 10 p.m., 2 a.m.
It
block
it
to be
probably
like,
came on after Red
Yeah.
Shoe Diaries, on
they're like,
Cinemax.
I bet some teenage boys will be like, oh,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that movie? Wild Things. That's the way that movie was
mm-hmm.
totally
Oh
marketed. Was,
God,
Yep.
oh,
Wild
Which I
look at
think,
this lesbian
Things.
couple, like it was a big shot.
I was
like,
a
And
I
it
think also
shouldn't
was
be.
nominated for Best Kiss at the MTV Movie Awards
oh
when it
yeah,
came
the
out.
little three-way kiss they did. Oh God, that movie.
But
I was in high
let's
school when it came out, and uh, aside from that, they were talking about Kevin's bacon.
Can
Y'all
but
know what I'm talking about.
Kevin's Bacon.
But you know what's interesting is that the Wachowskis actually had a sex therapist as a consultant on this movie for the love scenes that they shot. Like they had to make it, I guess, believable or not
It's like,
exploitation-y.
Right. Where there's
yeah,
that one line in the movie, and it's actually in the trailer, where the dude is like, "Well,
Oh, that is a great line though. What can
oh
she
what
do
did she
that
do that
I
I
can't?
couldn't?" And she was like, "Everything," or something like that. And I was like,
yeah, it's like,
"Oh, like that's the best burn
It's
ever."
the
yeah. Joe
best burn.
Pantoliano, that was
Yes.
the mobster guy who also
Yeah.
Yeah,
played Cypher in
in The
The
Matrix.
Matrix.
Yeah.
And he shows up in Sense8 as one of the character's dads. I mean, he's just a great. There's another great actor who
I think
just.
he's what. Yeah, I think he's on the
Yeah.
Wachowskis production posse. Like every director has their um, group of actors that they love working with,
Hmm.
and the Wachowskis, like um, Joe Pantoliano,
Well, he's just a
uh,
great all
Roger
around actor.
Allam, uh, basically a lot of character. They like having character actors.
For the most part, yeah, and I think he plays this role. He could probably do this role in his sleep as the like mid-level mob guy.
Yeah,
And I think not only because of the Wachowskis and them trying to do something different and them about their personal lives, but I think it's a great concept to make this two women because it makes him think he can, like, he underestimates Corky Gina Gershon's character because she's a woman, right? He doesn't think, oh, she's
Well, if you look at it, he embodies just about every male probably around here, and that's that male mindset that, oh well, if
machismo.
I can
Mhm.
turn her straight, like I've got something that can turn this woman straight, and
Uh,
I think that's why he delivers that line. Well, what did she do that I couldn't? Because he's got that, like you said, that machismo, like I'm God's gift to women, like I can turn any lesbian straight if I wanted to, like how dare they mindset. And
yeah,
that's just that mindset that a lot of guys that, and I'm going to use this because there's nothing wrong with it, that aren't woke yet and who don't understand that that's not the mindset you should have, still have today.
yeah.
And he
I was.
embodied that, I think.
I'm not gonna. I'll go out and say it. This movie is a very big um, display of toxic masculinity.
oh,
Mhm.
totally,
Yeah.
especially the Christopher Maloney character too,
Oh,
who's an absolute
actually that's the thing.
monster.
I didn't even realize that was Chris Maloney until I caught a glimpse of a close up of his face, and I was like, wait a minute, that's Elliot Stabler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
this is
I had to
pre.
look at the cast list and like, holy, he is like skinny in this one. This is I'd say probably what a couple of years before Law and Order SVU.
Yeah, it's
A
like two or
couple of
three
years
years.
after TMNT.
Yeah,
That's
Station Terminal.
that's that's Elias Cortez, but
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
yeah.
they
My
do
bad.
often get mistaken for one
I,
another because they're kind of similar
Which is
looking.
yeah.
which is also kind of funny because considering how um, violent that character was and how violent Elliot Stabler was, Chris Maloney is actually supposed to be a really nice guy in real life.
Mhm.
And I just find that immensely funny because I used to love watching Law and Order SVU G only likes it when Ice-T and Richard Belzer is on. G
I mean, she's
they
not wrong. They're a good dynamic, even though Richard Belzer's just being Richard Belzer.
yeah, pretty
Right.
much. But
Like he got that role on Homicide, and they're like, just do that thing for the rest of your life. Just do that.
well, it's making him money. I mean, he probably.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he officially retired from acting, and I think Richard Belzer officially retired the character. So, um,
But let's get to the ladies of this movie. I think Jennifer Tilly is playing top-notch femme fatale, especially in those early scenes where she just goes to Corky's apartment or
yeah,
like at
Mhm.
it is. Well, watching it now, it is very, very obvious that Jennifer Tilly was hitting on Gina Gershon, and
yeah, she drops her ring purposely down the sink to
yeah,
get her over there.
uh huh. Uh,
Like she's playing the archetypical female fatale in a normal noir film, though. Like,
Yeah. It's I said this earlier. I think it might have been before we started broadcasting, but this is basically a lesbian love story inside a heist movie
yeah,
because it has all the beats of a heist movie. They plan out the caper. They say they have um, fail safes for when it goes wrong. They do it, and then one of the Joe Pantoliano does starts acting opposite what they expect.
mm-hmm.
And he gets more. He gets his character gets more unhinged as the movie goes on, and the more unhinged he got, the sloppier he got.
Yeah, yeah, because he's in less control and he's freaking out. Like even when he's like trying to clean up the blood after they get him to. Well, they didn't think he would kill everybody, but they wanted him to kill Christopher Maloney. And
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, that's not helping. Like how you're clean, or like when he throws the rug over. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna cover the blood up.
yeah,
They
yeah,
did show that really well, though. His descent into chaos, like he just,
And I
like you
know it.
said, he just kept losing control, and the more he tried, or like really tried, the more out of control it became.
And I don't think it's supposed to be funny, but I did kind of laugh when he stacked the bodies in the bathtub. I'm like,
uh,
They'll be okay in here. Nobody looks in the bathtub.
but I didn't know this till I watched it. Bill Pope, legendary cinematographer who also shot the Matrix movies. You can see like their early like what they would do with the Matrix. There's some similar shots and camera movements going on in this
Mhm.
movie, even at such a low budget.
Right.
speaking of camera movements, what the one of the scenes that stuck out for me, having rewatched it, is um, when Joe Pantoliano's character gets into this huge cold sweat, and the angle is up on him, and it's almost like a dolly. It's like it's following along with him, and it just feels like it feels like a bad acid trip.
Mhm. Have
Like
you had a bad acid trip, Mick?
you know.
That's a joke. That's a joke. I'm just. That's a joke. I'm just saying. You
But
said it felt like a bad
is that
acid trip, and I was like, wait a minute. How do you...
But
Anyway.
I think both Gershon and Tilly are great in this movie. I think they have
Mhm.
really good chemistry. I
very
think
good chemistry?
Tilly is usually known for the Chucky series. That's all I ever see her mentioned with. But she is
well
decent. Like,
she played a lot of similar roles like this in the 90s where she was playing like some sort of femme fatale seductress
Or Airhead.
right.
The main thing I
yeah.
can remember Jennifer Tilly in, besides that and the Chucky movies, is Made in America with Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson.
Oh, I haven't seen
And
that in
Jennifer Tilly
years.
plays Ted Danson's airheaded girlfriend.
Right.
I think she's some kind of like second wife or something, trying to get some sort of policy and liar liar. Like there's some
Yes, yeah,
case.
she's the ex. Yeah, she's the ex-wife in Liar Liar.
Yeah.
Uh,
And all I remember Gina Gershon from was she was in Showgirls and Face Off. I think she's Nicolas Cage's girlfriend in Face Off.
yeah,
Right.
and we all
It didn't.
know
She's not the
we all know
girlfriend
about
in Erotic.
Showgirls.
I've
She's not.
actually never seen Showgirls, but
I
I
haven't
Really,
either.
know of it as
it
legend.
is. It is definitely one of those so bad it's good movies.
I remember seeing a review on it where they ripped it apart, and I always remember it being a big deal. Like they joked about showgirls in sitcoms, like it was
Mhm.
Yeah,
supposed to be really racy and everything. Somewhat like I watched a review over it, and compared to today's standards, it was a joke. I mean,
Well,
apparently,
it
it's
is a
like you
Paul
it
said,
was a
it's
Verhoeven
so
joke back
movie.
bad.
then. It was a
Yeah.
joke back then.
Yeah,
Like
but
it is, but it's nowadays it's kind of one of those so bad it's good kind of movies. They actually had a special edition with shot glasses and a drinking game to
oh
go with
no,
it. They
It's got a cult following. It's got
yeah.
a but I don't think this movie's a joke at all. I think it's a really well done heist noir film that's actually
right,
a romance.
I
and probably more tasteful than a lot of other movies would have been at that
At
time,
that time period,
dealing with
totally.
dealing
Even
with
though they
mhm.
this
tried
subject
to
matter.
market this as like some sort of trash
It's
trashy
like
girl on girl
sexy movie
movie.
with
Well,
lots of
I
sexy
showed Lindsay the
sex.
trailer. We watched the trailer on YouTube before we watched it, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to watch this. Like, this seems more like a dude movie than anything." And that's when I brought up I was like, you're right. This does seem like something I would have seen late at night on one of the movie channels. But after watching it, it's way more tasteful than what they pervade it in the movie trailer. Like
I
in the movie
I
trailer,
think
they're
that was
totally
the
trying to
marketing
market.
because I don't think that was the Wachowskis' intentions at all.
No, no, no,
Oh
no.
yeah,
And you can
the
tell. You can, like watch the trailer and then watch the movie, and it seems way different than what they marketed it. Because in the trailer, they show interlocking hands, and you show that these two women are about to get it. It's very marketed towards dudes that are
yeah.
they just want to go watch it to be pervy, but it's a
Yeah.
lot more than that. You know,
And I'm sure there were people that did, but I'm glad
yeah.
it's not the movie it was marketed as. I'd actually like to hear Lindsay's thoughts on this movie.
Well,
Yes,
she stepped out, so I don't. She should be back here in a minute.
Well,
So
yeah,
yeah.
we need to
I'm
get someone who's not a straight dude's opinion on this
right,
movie
yeah.
since we have one. But I think this is a wonderfully made debut film, and I think this is generally got positive reviews when it came out, and I know it gets shown at LGBTQ festivals and stuff, so I know it's a favorite amongst the community.
There and also, this movie, it pretty much it's it was made and was received so very well that it paved the way for the Wachowskis to make The Matrix. So if not for
Bound.
this movie succeeding, we would not have The Matrix and its contested sequels or anything from their output.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all their subsequent films after this and The Matrix were made because of The Matrix success. That's how they got Speed Racer, that's how they got
Hmm.
Cloud Atlas. And I really hope that they can still make movies. I don't know because a lot of people thought that their careers were kind of over after Jupiter Ascending, or at least their filmmaking careers were over because they went to TV after that. But I don't know how well the fourth Matrix did financially. It kind of was received the same way the other Matrix sequels were, mixed.
Yeah, but I haven't seen the new Matrix movie yet. I will eventually get to it, but I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon.
I just hope more filmmakers that aren't white dudes can get the kind of blank check that they get.
We were just talking earlier. Jordan Peele seems to be getting that kind of
That's
clout now. I
that's
mean,
true. Like his movies seem to be like an event, and I love that. And I
yeah,
love
I mean,
that after the success of Get Out, they tried to get him to direct an Akira adaptation, and then he was like, "No, I want to do social horror films and cast
and
black
real,
leads in my movie."
yeah, yeah, and really, the best kind of horror movies are the ones that are really about something. Like, Poltergeist. It's movie with
Ooh, who's
scary
ready for
ghosts,
note?
but it's also about how they,
Oh, I'm so ready for Nope.
making. It's like you know building suburbs over graves, which I'm
Which
pretty
they've
sure
done.
they actually did.
They have done. They have relocated cemeteries and left numerous bodies behind. Like it's been
Yeah,
brought up
they
over the years. And Houston, there was somewhere in Houston that did the same thing, uprooted a
yeah,
cemetery and ended up leaving half the caskets, and they find them while doing home renovations, or and then you find out this whole time you're living over, you know,
yeah.
dead
So
people.
and yeah, like I said, and it's like the best horror movies isn't always about some killer, you know, gutting teenagers or
Right.
whatever. Like there's like
I love
they're one best ones
poltergeists.
have some plot to them. And
Hmm.
yeah, we were just talking earlier. It's like Get Out was basically the Stepford Wives, but with black people.
Yeah.
And Us was a pretty good movie too. I am looking forward to his next movie. And uh,
Absolutely.
not
That
only
looks
that,
so rad.
they're um going back to the Wachowskis, how it's like how they're trans filmmakers, and uh their success also is sort of paving the way for other filmmakers who aren't straight white dudes, and they can they can make good movies with the rest of them. I mean, Patty Jenkins, like the original Wonder Woman, that was fantastic.
Have you seen
Like,
her first film, Monster? That's a really well made movie.
I have not seen that. No, I was also think another Catherine Bigelow.
Oh, I don't think.
Strange Days is on that list of my all-time favorite movies.
Well, we were talking Fast and the Furious. There would be no Fast and the Furious if there wasn't Point Break, because
Oh
the first
yeah,
Fast and the Furious is basically Point Break with cars.
you know, you're right. Well, uh, do we have any more thoughts to um, get into about Mound?
I think if you're a fan of the Wachowskis or you're a fan of noir, I think you should definitely check this movie out. I think just as good as their best work. I think it's a really well done, tight little thriller that's actually a romance.
Yeah, I agree. It is definitely worth a Saturday afternoon to sit down and like put it on Amazon and just pop some popcorn.
And I just love that they go for broke every time they make a movie. And even if it doesn't completely work, I would rather something try to do something interesting than just be a boring, bland film.
Yeah, I mean a lot of people have dunked on Jupiter Ascending, but it is way too visually interesting and strange to be boring.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, say what you will about Jupiter Ascending, it is not a boring movie.
not at all. And I just hope they get to keep making movies. I don't think they're working together because I believe Lana just directed the last Matrix, and Lily has been doing a TV show on Showtime.
Huh.
Well, I mean, you can't work together all the time. And it's like when you say when you're related and you see each other at work and then you see each other at home. I am all for seeing what each individual person, how they work as individuals. And do you know the name of the Showtime show off the top of your head?
No, let me see if I can find it. But since 8, which is another like very
Yeah.
allegorical show about their politics and their feelings on the world,
Yeah, I
is worth a
I need to
watch.
finish that show. I made it through um I made it through all their first season, their Christmas special, and I started the second season, but for some whatever reason I dropped off of it, and I I know JMS has all kinds of fail safes for when actors leave or for when if the show gets canceled, um, before he wants the official story to complete. I mean, he did that with Babylon 5, but um, I'm still kind of nervous to see how the finished product was going to turn out. But I need to get back into that show. Welcome back.
Oh, I've been here. I'm sorry. I was listening.
Okay,
Sometimes
It's
I'll
called
shut up my
Work
mouth.
in Progress. Yeah, I think that's the name of the show.
work in progress. All right. Any more thoughts on Bound, Chris?
Um, no, it was an excellent movie. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I think um, the trailers tried to push another narrative that just truly was not there, and that probably is what turns a lot of people off from watching this. But I thought it was a great job for their first, um, their first go at the industry, and I like it. I
All
enjoyed it.
right. All right. It's
So
been awesome talking with you guys again. Uh,
yeah,
we're gonna go
Yeah.
back to the housing hunt once again. Wish us luck.
okay,
Like
yeah. Good luck. Good luck.
the market is kind of capital T terrible
Mm,
right now. So,
right. As are a
but
lot of things, but they'll
yeah,
get better
at
eventually.
least at
Hopefully.
least we have this show, right?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, let's see. What are we doing next week?
Next week we're going back to summer of '82, and we're going to be talking Rocky 3.
All right.
Ooh,
Rocky 3. I'm here for
yes,
it. I watched the first Rocky in 4K the other night. Excellent
Isn't
as
isn't
always.
it kind of strange how his two most popular franchises went from being dramas to like ridiculous over the top? Well, I guess Rocky's
yes.
kind of gone back into
Yeah,
drama land.
it's gone
Right.
back into gritty drama. It's looped back, but yes, you were right. The original Rocky was just this down on his luck boxer, and then and then by the time Rocky 4 comes out, he turns into a superhero who punches out the Soviet Union, and the Russians thank him for it.
Well, I will say it does get cartoonish, but he comes full circle. He he turns into the very thing he defeated in the first and second movies, or not. The he turns into a. You know how Apollo Creed,
Yeah.
he was the greatest, but like in the first movie, he took it for granted. He was like, "Well, I can take this southpaw." And, he came in. He was his head was inflated, and Rocky kind of knocked him back down to earth. Like, you need to kind of you don't need to be that ambitious. Even his own team was like, "Hey, you need to pay attention to this guy. Like, you're dancing in, uh, dressed up, and you're showboating, but." Into those rounds, he's like, oh, wait a minute, I think I kind of overestimated this guy. But by the third movie, Rocky becomes Apollo Creed.
Okay.
Rocky becomes so, and his head is so big with the riches and everyone laying everything at his feet, and he's the greatest boxer in the world, and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And he overestimates Clubber Lang and all his other dudes, and he gets knocked back down to reality. So it kind of, yes, it does become really cartoonish, but
Yeah.
he does in a way come full circle. He gets knocked back down to where he was, and it's not until after he loses everything that he realizes that you know
Well, as cheesy
Let's
as Rocky 4 is, and I know people who love Rocky 4, Dolph Lundgren actually gives a really good performance in Creed 2. Like, it's a
I,
really well
Oh
done
yeah,
performance.
I'm not doubting Dolph Lundgren's
I,
ability as an act. I mean, the dude played He-Man,
I'm
but
I'm ready to see the Rocky Drago cut,
oh
the Rocky versus Drago cut. It's where he went and put in extra footage, recut scenes. I think he took the robot out of it. Um, he tried to
oh
kind of ground it a little more than what it was, and he did this last year. So I'm really anxious to see it. Like I've been
all
waiting
right,
until I watched
all right,
through these.
all
But
right. Let's save that for next week.
yes,
Yep. So,
Nick, thank you so much,
yeah.
and
Absolutely,
Cody,
absolutely.
thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for
it was
hopping on
cool.
our little side step because I'm trying to be more culturally I'm trying to get more culturally aware of other movies and filmmakers. So we bring up things when there's months to talk about it, to bring up those
Right,
Yeah,
subjects matters.
it's yeah,
right.
it's very good. It's very good that you're doing that, and I will. There are some articles about the Wachowskis and the Matrix. I'll put that on the main on the on the Facebook page in later on this weekend, if not today. I got a lot to do today, but yeah,
Hey, hey, it's all right, man.
it's a lot of it is talking about how the Matrix reflects a trans narrative, and
Mm-hmm.
of course, yeah, and these are by actual trans people. It's like, yeah, don't, yeah. It's like for those of you who are watching, you should not look at the um, opinions of cishet guys who are
Right.
on as authorities on this. I mean,
Nope.
honestly, we're a dime a dozen.
Yeah. Throw a rock, you'll hit one of us.
Yeah, don't throw actual rocks,
Yeah,
please.
please don't. I'm not inciting or promoting violence in any
Right.
way.
Okay, all right.
All
But
right, Nick. Well,
anyway,
good
it's
luck on the
always a
house hunt.
pleasure,
Mhm.
and I'm looking forward to seeing you all next time.
Yep. Thanks
All
All
for
right,
right, Nick.
coming on.
Yeah.
no problem.
Have a good
All right,
day.
you too. Bye bye, everybody.
All
Bye.
right. See you later, Nick. All right. Let's see. Oh, Cody, before you exit, yes,
Oh,
you're doing Rocky 3 next week.
yeah.
What
Hold on.
about
I'm trying to end
later today?
broadcast so we're not live anymore.
Sorry, my bad.